Hey, welcome. All right, so doing another stream today, and it's just a progress update, pretty simple. I wanted to share this new work I've been doing on creating a way to easily deduplicate multiple detections. There are a number of ways to approach this, ranging from doing things with machine vision and AI to like figure out if they're the same image to uh, doing some simple like diff comparisons. And what I opted to do was to use the latitude longitude to figure out which detections are really close to each other and present that to my man in the middle in a way that's very intuitive. All right, so I'm gonna jump in and just show you that before I talk much about it. But let's just show it. So window. So here is the new UI I created. Previously, it might look something like this. Let me pull up the old look. And if we go here and we go to today, let's say like this. It would look something like this. You would only see every detection would get its own block in the grid, and over detections that were near each other were grouped by geohash, which isn't a perfect way to group them um, or to cluster them because geohashes have discrete boundaries that have very little to do with the actual cluster of detections. Maybe that's coming up next to group them by clustering them. For now, what I opted to do is to modify the UI so that I do group them by geohash because I think that's sufficient for my purposes. And I'm able to scroll through them and look at each one. The It always puts the highest probability one on the top, which is great because I think that's going to be the one that's most probable within that area to have to be the one I want to report. So yeah. So like this one here, I would probably report it. So I still have the rest of the UI kind of the same thing. I can go in here. I can say here's a large pile containing garbage bags, loose debris, cardboard boxes, and it's on the sidewalk, and then I can file that. Okay, so that's great. That's the same old UI. But now I don't have, it's a little bit clearer to me like when things are kind of close to each other or maybe duplicate detection. So for instance, this detection and this detection are the same pile. And these other piles are very close by. I think they're actually on the same intersection. And this is just off the same intersection. And so they're close enough to where if I send DPW out there, they're already going to be there. So most likely they'll just go pick up the pile, the other piles. I can still do all this stuff like saying, oh, that's not garbage, that's not garbage, that's not garbage. But yeah, this is my new geohashing. So one of the things I want to talk about is this is not a great way to do it, geohashing. And I'll tell you why. And I can probably demonstrate this best by using a little bit of functionality I built here. So this map marker, what it does is it adds the geohash up here. So I can get rid of that for now. And if I go click this map marker, it will add the geo. Let me find a better example. Here. It will add like, let's see how many, eight, no places, eight, nine. Yeah, 9 places of the geohash. The geohash, I believe, is 12 or I think it's 12 characters long. It'll add 9 of them. That's pretty precise. We still have some detections underneath here. I'll have to look into why the UI doesn't provide the feedback here to tell you they're there. But you can pull this one up on the map and you'll see that's like all in one spot essentially. And here's what I wanted to demonstrate. Now, what you really want is for this point to be like in a cluster. So all the ones around, you want to have like a clustering based on like how close together or proximal multiple different piles are. But what we'll end up getting with the geohash is at some point it'll become big enough where it covers like this big area. So it's like, first of all, it's not very, the increments are a little too wild, too large. So if I go one more, then it's going to be like a much larger area. See? So what I would really like to see is like be able to cluster by a distance of in meters, versus like these huge, this is like almost from, it goes from like a tenth of a mile to a mile. That's a mile right there from top to bottom. That's 1 mile. So that's a pretty big difference from what it was when it was smaller to like a mile. And what I want to do is be able to have more discrete markers to go by. And so what I'm probably going to do is implement a clustering algorithm. Pretty easy to do. I do have a vector. It's a 2D vector, which is a latitude and a longitude. And I'm using Elasticsearch, and Elasticsearch has clustering built into it. And I can basically tell it how many clusters I want to report. So I could say, well, I really want to limit the number of reports in this area to 30 or 50 a day. And then I could feed that cluster number to my k-nearest neighbors algorithm that's built into Elasticsearch, by the way. And it would return 30 or X number of piles, however many clusters I wanted, or X number of clusters, sorry. And those clusters would be grouped according to an error, root means error function, where it's like trying to minimize the amount of error, the amount of movement that happens from when adding things to a cluster. So basically, like there's a center mass of the cluster, and as you add something to it, you want to reduce the amount of error. I actually, you know what? I'm not describing that well, I think, and maybe I should look into that a little bit more so I can provide a better explanation. It basically uses error, and so it's a much better, not because of that, but because it has more discretion where something is clustered. It does a better job. And I've used it on other things, like in embeddings for GPT-3 and 4 for doing semantic search, and it works really well. So I'm curious to see how it works on these 2-dimensional vectors versus the 1,536 dimensional vectors that GPT-3 and 4 use. It should be a lot more efficient, but that clustering on GPT with the 1,536 dimension clusters, actually, it's pretty fast. So I don't see any problem. I don't imagine there'll be any performance issues. So yeah, we can see here detections. What I'd really like to see is like these detections here get clustered. What would be amazing if I could somehow cluster them by the proximity based on how the truck works, how the pickup works. Because if the truck stops, say right here, these are all proximal enough for him to go and pick them up all at once. I don't need to report all of these. But even though this one here is closer to this one than this one is to this one, this is not proximal because there's a building in the way. So there's something around streets. I could cluster by the street or block or something like that. That's another interesting way to do it. So to geocode or reverse geocode each one, figure out what street and what block it's on, and then cluster it by street and block. And so I'm clustering on my block, and I only report the highest confidence pile on that block. That's a great way to do it. Actually, that's probably better than k-means clustering, k-nearest neighbors clustering, block by block clustering. And I think that's doable. I have a way to reverse geocode these latitude longitudes. And then I also have, I'm pretty sure I can get some kind of block out of it. So I could probably just go check that. So let's see, AWS Geo Service reverse geocode API, Amazon location services. So you're going to provide a position, and then it's going to return back a postal code, a label. It's not giving me a block number, but it does give me an address number. If I have a street and an address number, I can probably infer the blocks based on the numbers to some degree. But that might get into a little bit of a tricky territory because I don't know how all of the streets are blocked or addressed. And sometimes I'm sure that can get a little funky. I suppose I could do a combination of street name and distance. And so I could cluster street names, cluster by street. So I could filter on street and then cluster by, that's going to get really interesting to implement that in a practical use case. So that's one of the ideas. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm just trying to figure out how to improve the system more and more every day. And I think the big next step is going to be deduplication and clustering. Finding a way to present this data so that it's easy to understand or easy to see when something is at the same location. Now, this is going to get even more interesting when I start looking back over the last few days. So say I'm looking at just today, but I could actually take this back a few days, add in those results, and that should add even more results under a cluster. So I'm kind of fading these out. I'm going to change that UI real quick. I'm going over here into my coding UI. So I'm just going to pull this over a little bit. And I'm going to go over and change some code so that instead of fading these out like I am, let's see, transform. Okay, I'm translating them and I'm fading them. I'm going to fade them by much less. And that should allow us to see more of what's back there. So like, here's a good example. I was fading it out so much that you weren't seeing a lot of these, but this has a large number of detections at this location over the last couple of days. And so, you know, if I go here and I also change this to filed and unfiled, then you'll see a mixture of, when we get to one of these, you'll see a mixture of green and not green in there. We'll also see the date. So you can see here are some clusters where I reported this on the 3rd, today's the 5th. And if we go back through here, I have some on the 4th and the 5th. Here, if we go back, here's one from today, but you can see I reported something nearby there just yesterday. And so maybe I don't need to report that again. That's kind of the advantage of clustering. I can quickly see whether I need to report these locations again. So this is interesting. This one says waste not found. And we go to, do we have one today? No. So sometimes I guess the waste disappears or they just don't see it. I mean, that's a pretty small little pile there. Going on a little tangent, follow me. So here we found some garbage. I mean, it's like a cinder block or something, or some kind of toy car, a bucket, a piece of styrofoam. I don't know why they couldn't find that. Here's a box. So there's stuff there on the corner. There's another box there. That actually looks like a pretty good piece of data as well. I might have to add that into my data set if it's not already there. Okay, let's go add that in. All right, so because this bounding box is way off, it also got the fire hydrant. Oops. I don't want the fire hydrant. I just want this stuff. I want this. I also want this. And I want this. Okay. That's not garbage. No garbage there. I'm going to add something in. I like to make sure it's pretty high quality. The better quality I add in, the better quality I get out. Garbage in, garbage out, gold in, gold out. Okay. So there we go. Let's see here. All right. So yeah, I really like this new deduplication. I can see at a glance, did I file something at this location? This is actually, that's actually on a rooftop at the edge of the sidewalk. And there's not really anything to file here. There's just a lot of garbage on the ground below. Yesterday I noticed that too. It's just blowing all over the place there. But I'm gonna ignore those for now. So let's just ignore these. There we go. I mean, that's pretty trashy looking. I don't know. Okay, this one, yesterday, ignore it. This is from yesterday. I need to do something with that date. I'm going to make that date a little easier to read by putting some contrast there. So I had just done that with another piece of data I have overlaid. Let's see. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Where is the date? Where is the confidence? I think that was in here. Confidence. There we go. And here's the date string. So what I can do here is I can do the same thing I did over on this one. I can say px, py, rounded full, oops, and put that in there. And then I can put a nice little yellow background with some opacity. So if we need to see through, we still have the ability to see through. That should make it a little bit easier to read. And then I'll make the width not full. And we'll give it a little bit of off the right and off the, okay. There we go. So that's a little better. So now when we cycle through these, it'll be a little bit easier to see what we're dealing with. So that is garbage. That's from yesterday. I guess I didn't file that or something. Here is something. I'm not going to file that. Leave a comment if you think this feels tedious. Is this like tedium? I think I enjoy a little bit of tedium in my life. I think it's something I find sort of like meditative, or almost, it makes me feel good to spend a little time going through rote operations. What is that? It's just somebody carrying something. And then there's nothing over here. It's relatively clean here today. Oh, nothing. I don't see garbage. The garbage cans aren't overflowing. That's not garbage. It's something else. Yeah. I wasn't gonna, I mean, the AI didn't miss anything. It just thought that a group of people was maybe garbage. It got confused. It gets confused with strollers for some reason that are stuffed with stuff. It's funny when it gets confused by. Okay. Going back to the reverse geocoding. I really like the idea of grabbing out the street name and then doing some sort of clustering on all of the piles discovered on a given street. I think that's interesting. Okay, let's see here. We're going to mark that as trash. We're not going to file it. We're going to ignore that. This is yesterday. I don't know why that's, I probably filed it, but just had duplicates yesterday. Let's see, or maybe not. I don't know. I forgot to tilt the camera down on that one, so restarted the mission and then forgot to put the camera back up. Here's another good little adversarial data point. Fix it. Okay, and then is there any garbage that I should go ahead and label? There's Thor's hammer. Okay, that's it. We're good. Added that back in. And here's some more garbage. Oops, I want to mark that as garbage, and I want to ignore that. That, not garbage. This is from a couple days ago. That's a little garbage. A little garbage. Okay, that is, look, is that the same spot? No. That doesn't look like actual garbage. That is garbage. That is garbage. And that, okay, this is garbage. Not going to file it. It's from a few days ago. This is not garbage. This is somebody's sign. This looks like it could be garbage. Yeah, it is. The robot, the drone, the AI, it did good, but it missed this one over here. So that could be something to add to my data set. Let's do it. First of all, let's file this as tiny little pile of loose debris on the sidewalk. Okay, and then we're going to also add this to my data set. We're going to go in and correct the fact that it missed these piles of cardboard boxes. And it missed this here. Okay. I want these streets to be really clean. That's my goal. That's my goal. That is ultimately what I'm trying to achieve. Here, we just have a lot of stuff behind this barricade over the last couple days. It's garbage. We'll mark it. We'll mark it. This is garbage from a few days ago, but I have a request for that one as well. So, I mean, the thing about this geohash grouping, it does not work great, honestly. It just doesn't work great because it draws this sort of arbitrary line where if something is on the border of that line, it's arbitrarily put into another cluster, which doesn't make any sense because it might actually be the same garbage, but just maybe the GPS coordinates are a little off for some reason. Probably not to do with the actual GPS unit, but more likely to do with the math I'm doing. And like maybe I'm not taking into account elevation correctly. I think that's actually happening. Just to be clear, I think I'm not properly using the elevation when I do my calculations. Okay, that's garbage. And this is another one where we're going to clear it. That is garbage. But it's like an encampment. They're not going to clean it up. That's garbage. And that's not. Oh, that looks like an interesting result. Let's see if we should add that in. I mean, it did pretty good. That's a pretty good result. We can maybe improve that a little bit. Adding a couple more things into it. That's a bag. Looks like a plastic bag. That is definitely some garbage. It's just like a black box. I don't know if that's really garbage. That's kind of garbage. I mean, that stuff should get cleaned up. Let's put that. I mean, it can't hurt to be thorough, right? Okay. All right, and then this is from today. Wow, it rarely gets these wrong, but this is awesome because I can strengthen my model even more with a negative case or an adversarial case. This roof vents. In this case, it's a combination of roof vents. No, these are like propane tanks on the roof. So that's not garbage, but it's getting confused. So I like to provide it with a little guidance there. If it never detects those ever again, then that's going to save me some time. Okay, that's a duplicate. See, it did a good job there. A duplicate. It said that's a duplicate. So since it's on the same date, I'm not going to actually mark it as garbage, just for my own purposes, not garbage. That's from yesterday. I think I already got that one. That is not something I would report. Here is another great adversarial case. This is someone with a stroller of some sort. That's the latest thing that it's been having difficulty with. The cool thing is that when I address these things, when I address these adversarial cases, it gets better, and eventually it stops reporting them. Like the roof vent thing is pretty much dealt with. You did this year detect something on the roof, but that was propane tanks. I'm working on the people with strollers. Also, people carrying garbage bags. Sometimes it detects those as garbage. All these little cases I can work on and improve, make them better, and it will continue to improve. Not garbage. Okay. Here's another one. That's from yesterday. Awesome. Those are not garbage. Those are people having fun. Okay, here we go. That's a bag. That looks like garbage. That's a plastic bag on the ground. Okay, that's good. Add it in to the main huge data set. That does not look like garbage. That's in somebody's yard. That's on private property. It's not garbage. I already filed that one. That's on the back of a truck. That's not garbage. That's not garbage. That's not garbage. That is garbage. It's the door. This one's tricky. Like, do I file this as, I don't think I add it to my training set, but I definitely think I report it as like furniture on the road. Medium, large pile of furniture on, let's say a medium pile. And we'll just call it other loose debris and garbage. That's what 311 likes me to file it as. This I'll ignore. This I'll ignore. So the reason I don't add the pickup trucks into my data set as adversarial is that I actually think it's valid garbage for the machine vision model to pick up, even though I don't want to file a complaint for it. And that's because that is garbage. That's because, like, it is garbage. It's just not something they're going to pick up. And so I don't want, the model isn't going to really understand why it shouldn't do something. If it's just looking at how it looks. Does it look like garbage? If so there's something funky here where I'm still getting things underneath the same one, but they're not showing up. Let's look at this and see what's going on. Okay, so we've got all of these, and then we got those two things, and then that's the right and left arrows. Then we have Z index negative, and our translate should work, but it's hidden. Why are these hidden? There's something about the size of this window that's causing that to happen. What is that? Okay. I think I need to, like, take off this BG white on these. Oh, those things are fine. Okay. And then let's see if I do that one to like 50% opacity. Does it show through? That's so weird. Like this one. I mean, it was showing them. It does show them sometimes. Why is that one any different? What's the difference between that one and this one? Something about this one that makes it not show up. There's 3 under there, and it's not showing me, so that's confusing. Why? Does anybody know why? Translate, transform. They're there. It may have to do with like the Z index or something. So let's see. Z50. What is the valid Z's? 42. Because I'm setting the Z over here. Z index 50. There it is. Okay, so there's something in front of it. What is it? What is that? Something that's at Z50. Let's see. Is that this whole thing here? Z0. Let's say negative Z10. So I think the thing is if I go negative Z, that's not great. Let me try that. Let me try switching these detections so that when they get shown, they're incrementing Z instead of decrementing Z. So Z index is equal to index is equal to 50 plus index. And then I just need to order them. I need to make sure that the arrows are at a Z of higher than that. Z, that's as high as it goes. Z50. So let's try 20 plus, okay? Z50 and Z50. All right, and so then we need to reverse the order because we're not getting the highest one first, and we just want to sort by sort, and we add them. Concat. Have a simple little way of adding them, and I just need to add in there a sort right here. Okay, so it's A confidence minus B confidence. And that should put the top one on top. Yeah, there we go. So now if we go through, it's going the best one's on top. Yeah. So it's da, da, da. All right. That's good. And all of them are showing up now because it's doing a positive. Of course, it's like shifting them up and to the left, which is a little annoying, but I could even make the shift even less dramatic. Could help. if I get like 1,000 of them that are overlapping, it's going to be really hard to it just won't work. This UI won't work if I do that, but I can do it like that. Adds a little bit of thickness. I think I shouldn't put the red border around it. I don't like that, the red dotted line, if it's not been processed. Dotted. Okay. I don't think I should just do like a solid red, and it's like a 1 pix. I don't even think I should have one. I should have no border on those. Yeah, I like it better like that. If it hasn't been processed, it just doesn't have any color to it. That's better. Okay. So now we can see it's very faint, and so I'm going to increase the little the little translation to like 8. There we go. And I could put like a little bit of a shadow or something on these, so that could help. Yeah, I think I should put a little bit of a drop shadow. Let's add that. So we're going to have class name shadow XL shadow gray 500. Let's see if that shows up. Oh, that's the whole thing. Okay, if we do it just on the actual detection, which is going to be, is that this? Yeah. So if we add a little shadow on that. No. I want to do it on just the image right here. There we go. It's not doing much. Sorry, I'm so quiet. I guess I get that way when I'm coding. Okay, so that's good enough. But I think what this does is going to make it a little bit easier. So I'm just going to go through and try this out. So yeah, that's not something I want to file. The only thing is if it's got the top, anyways, I'll stop talking. That is a little bit of garbage. Let's see. I'm going to file that. That looks like it's like right on the curb. What is that? I don't know. I'm not that confident that's actually garbage. I'm going to say that's not garbage. That could be somebody getting into their car or something. All right. Nope. Okay. We're going to say nope. This is kind of annoying to have to click through here on each one. This is definitely garbage from yesterday. I'm going to say that's garbage. That's not. I mean, that's not dumping. It's not dumping. I mean, I'm sort of labeling, is it dumping with this part? There's two things that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the machine model and then like the data that I care about. So I care whether it's illegal dumping. The machine model cares whether it's trash. I have to make the inference from machine model to trash. I mean, machine from trash to to illegal dumping. I have to go, okay, that's trash and illegal dumping, and then that's where my decision making comes in currently. Although, like, I've had people give me some great ideas, such as like looking at the boundary of where the garbage is based, on some sort of like a priori map of the streets. So if you know the location, the coordinates of all the streets, you can know whether trash is on the streets, sidewalks, or where it is. So that gives you the ability to sort of determine whether something's more likely to be illegal dumping if it's on the street. And so you can use that information to your advantage. All right, this is taking a long time because I'm not sure this is actually better in some ways. Let's see here. That is garbage. I'm not going to file it. It looks like I filed something there. See, look, that's the same spot. It's geohashed next to each other fairly closely, but it has not been cleaned up, and I think that's because it's technically mostly in the grass. No. Nope. Yes, that's garbage. Yes. So what I want to do with that, I don't like these dotted lines at all. So I'm going to make that the same thing, 5 pixels, solid, and then I'm going to make it, see, yellow is green plus red. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, so that means it's just trash. And I can actually make that, I think it's better to be brighter. I actually like that. There we go. So that means it's trash. Green is that I've reported it as trash. Yellow is that it is trash, but it's not reported. So like that. That's garbage. That's trash. Reporting, not reporting it. That is not. That's probably another good adversarial. So probably should just start from the top. So let's just go not trash. Not trash. Trash. Not trash. Trash. Oops. Not trash. That's an interesting one. Trash. That's a motorcycle. It's not trash. That is trash. That is trash. Okay, we already labeled these. This one, though, we didn't, and that is not trash. Trash, trash. I think if we ignore it, we should mark it red. So, I don't have a good way of doing that though, but oh yeah, I do. I should be able to, because if it is opacity, if it's triple equal to false, then okay, so we're gonna have to, this is gonna be tricky. So if detection is, if there's a cleanup request ID, which means we did a cleanup, then you do this. If not, if it is trash, but else, then we want to actually get explicit and say, if the detection is false, then okay, so then in that case we want to go and we'll go like that. So then we'll give a red if it's been ignored. We're going to give a 5 pixels red. Otherwise, we'll give it a black border that's like, I think 5 pixels is pretty thick. So I like the consistency of having that 5 pixels border. You can see the black ones really clearly. Like this one. This means I haven't dispositioned it yet. It is garbage. These are all non-disposition, so that's garbage. That is garbage. That's today. We could file that. That's garbage. These are all kind of close to each other. That's off the beaten path. That's on the side of the road. That is off in private property. It's just more, it's like more of a puddle. But I don't think any of these I want to file except for maybe that one. I mean, it's kind of funny because that's a few days ago, so we won't do that. That's garbage on the street. That's garbage on the street. That's garbage on the street. That could be considered garbage, but I'm not gonna. That's garbage. That's not. That is not. That is people. So we're gonna add that to our adversarial data set. Did we already do this one? I can't remember. That's kind of bad if I don't. That's one of the things I also need to tackle is like, I don't ever want to put the same data point into my training set twice, because that would introduce a little bit of bias. It's not a ton because I have so much data, but like just a tiny bit of bias can be bad if it happens often. Okay. All right, so that's not. You know, the funny thing about this is the way I'm doing this now, it's like, it's not super scalable because, let's see, is that the highest? That's the highest probability one. There's other stuff under there. But yeah, that's in the road. I'm going to file that. I like that. Okay, boom. Okay, let's go back to the window view. I like that better. Can you hear me? Okay, good. All right, so this one we will file. So that's cardboard boxes on the road. A medium pile of cardboard boxes on the road. Boom. Okay. That's garbage. That's garbage. I don't know. I don't want to do all. I don't want to mark everyone. If I find one in that group that I want to file, I'll file it. I just want to find the most probable one, and I think I just want to go for today. I need to fix that UI a little bit for the look back. To look back a couple days. Let's put that. This UI needs a lot of work. Okay, that's not gonna. That's somebody's garbage, and that's not garbage. That's not garbage, even though it's super confident about it, and that's not garbage. That's not garbage. That's not garbage. That's the, boy, it was really confident about some wrong answers there. So I already filed that one. I'm not going to go through all the rest of those. That one I wouldn't file. That's garbage, but I won't file it. That is an adversarial case. I can say, okay, let's improve the model a little bit. This was one of the things that was really had a big performance issue before, detecting these power line areas with like all the transformers. I was getting detections on those like every photo that they were in for a while. But now that I've been doing this adversarial training, it's gotten better. Fewer and fewer of them. It's like, at least it's not extremely confident. I mean, one way to actually do this is to use confidence and then set it to like 98, and then we get a much better result. So like we could file this one. That's like easy peasy. Okay, let's file that. Is somebody there cleaning it up? No. So that is a large pile containing loose debris and full photo. It is on the sidewalk or curb, I guess, and then we will call it that. Let's see. I don't think they're going to pick that up though. And so we'll bring our threshold down to like 90. This one was there yesterday, but I guess they don't pick it up because it's touching this person's house. That's on private property. That is behind a barricade, so they won't touch it. That's pretty small cardboard box. I think we can actually file this because, like, who's going to pick this up? Is it just going to blow around the city forever? It shouldn't. A small pile containing garbage bag, cardboard boxes. This one, obviously not going to file that. That one we already filed. This one we already filed. Here, private property, private property, private property, private property. This 93% confident. And it's also confident on that one, which is nearby. We'll file this one, which is contained garbage. It's like cardboard boxes, garbage bags on the sidewalk. Oh no, I filed the wrong category. It's all right. It'll still get picked up. Okay, so that's like a much quicker way to do it if we just really focus on, the thing that irks me about this one is it's blocking the sidewalk. Like, it shouldn't be there. So I'm going to file this MF again. This is annoying. Like, that should be gone. Somebody needs to pick that up. I don't care if it's touching somebody's house. It's blocking sidewalk access. All right. And then if we go down to 85, we'll get some more results. And I think this is going to be a good adversarial one here. Because it looks like it's picked up it's made a mistake. And we can correct it. What's going to happen? Sometimes. So much garbage. I'm not going to file those, but I'll mark them. That's not. That's like technically on the sidewalk. That's all garbage. It's behind a barricade, but that's like, it's like right next to the road. It's also right next to a playground. It's nasty. Somebody needs to clean that up. And maybe they issue a warning to the landowner. It's kind of unfair because it's probably somebody going by and dumping over the barricade thinking, oh, it's fine if I dump here. And technically the landowner is required to clean that up. Doesn't that suck? I hate that. Okay. But that's the way it is. Okay. I think I should file this one too. It's far enough away where it's actually different. That's the thing about these geohashes, man. They're not great. Garbage bags on the sidewalk. If you're listening out there and you're a geohash expert and you can help me out, let me know. What's the best way to cluster these things? To prevent duplicates. That's my goal. I don't want duplicates. I want to avoid duplicating. Filed and unfiled. And so we go all the way down to 80. Do we get more stuff? See, below 80 it starts getting a little, it's like, that's not stuff I would normally report like that. I'm not going to report. There's nothing there. This one, yeah, there's some stuff there, but like, I mean I could report that. Yeah, we'll report that. We'll say small pile of loose debris on the sidewalk. Okay, let's just see if we can get it cleaned up. Otherwise, it's going to blow into the ocean, and a turtle's going to die. I don't want that. This one again, this is something we could file. And that's a small pile on the sidewalk of loose debris. Like, I don't want that stuff to go into the ocean. Right? Do you want it to go in the ocean? I don't want it to go in the ocean. I already filed this one. That's the same one. Ignore it. Okay. Nope. Nope. Already filed that. Nope. Ooh, these are some great adversarial images. I'm getting a lot of good ones today. So yeah, if you're still watching, boy, you must have a really good attention span. And I applaud you for your amazing attention span. You're my kind of person. I really just, sometimes I like to watch stuff like this because it's really soothing, just to like see somebody doing something that I think is cool, but it's like, it doesn't have to be, I don't have to like really focus on it. It's more like background noise. I like that kind of stuff. If you like that kind of stuff, maybe that's why you're watching, if you are watching. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Okay. That's an adversarial set. There's one there. That could be an adversarial set because like that's not garbage. We'll mark it as not garbage. We'll add it to our thing. Okay. Yeah. Oh, look at all this great adversarial. I call it adversarial data because it's like I'm trying to find where my model makes mistakes and like add that into its repertoire of training so that it learns to overcome the mistakes it makes. I don't know if that's the traditional way that the term adversarial training or adversarial data is used. I think it's used in like a security context potentially, but that's not what I'm saying here. Pizza box. Lots of little subtle pieces of garbage. Okay, there you have it. I think that's it for the day. I think that I've filed everything meaningful for the day. Now I can, everything else is below the threshold that I'd like to focus on. So here I'm going to go to filed. I'll get a final result of all the garbage I filed today. It wasn't that much. And, oops, I got to pull this thing out. Get result of filed for today. Okay, there. That's filed for today. And you can see that's what we filed. So open up the map. And you can see where it's all spread out. So that's the map of garbage filed for today. I'll take a screenshot, do my posting on Nextdoor. That's kind of my social media channel of choice for this data because it goes to my direct neighbors, the people who actually care about this. Let's see here. Okay, there's that. And we'll get a couple screenshots of garbage. Okay, I like this one. Save image. And we'll make a new folder called 2023-04-05. Save it here, okay? Do that one. Doom. Save image as. Save. Okay, and sometimes what I like to do is actually get the one with the bounding box. I think that's a kind of a compelling image like this. So I do a screenshot and then grab the thing like that. So it's like, here is the actual thing. Okay, so then that's enough for today. So I'll add in some of these photos. I'll go this screenshot, that screenshot. Okay. We got that and that. We can add a few more in. I think I had some screenshots earlier from today. Those things that I wanted to share. That one, or did I already put this in there? 1, 2, 3. That one was already there. That one was already there. That one's not intended to be shown. And that one's good. Okay, yeah. And how many piles did we do? Let's take a look. Let's go take a look. Zoom out. 15 today. 15 reports of garbage on our streets here on the east side of 3rd Street in the Bayview. The trash drone is enjoying doing daily flights. Okay, I'm just going to mute myself real quick.